Oh, and this is recorded. So we'll be able to post this on our website.
Excellent.
And people are logging in. Okay, and I'll go ahead and get started. Welcome everyone, and thank you so much for joining us for this week's Small Business Essential webinar, Keeping the Edge as an Entrepreneur. My name is TJ Daniels, and I am the director of the Iowa Center's Women's Business Center. The Iowa Center's Women's Business Center is funded in part through a cooperative agreement with the U.S. Small Business Administration. You will receive an email after this session today from my colleague, Sierra Smith, thanking you for attending today's session, information on how to connect to our speaker, as well as a form to complete. Please do us a big favor and take some time to fill out this form. This information allows us to continue providing free educational programming for small business owners in Iowa. Now go ahead and take some time to locate the chat function on your Zoom screens so you can join the conversation by asking questions and/or adding comments. Also, feel free to introduce yourself and your business in the chat and include your website or social media page so we could visit and learn more about your business and network. Now, a little bit about today's speaker. Our speaker today is Jacqueline Bolt. Jackie is the Executive Director for the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program in Iowa and works to support small business growth across the state. Prior to her role in 10KSB, she served as a business consultant where she worked with clients in the DMACC region on workforce development and employee training initiatives. Jackie earned her master's degree in business analytics from University of Iowa and holds undergrad degrees in business and education. And I am now turning over the screen to you.
Excellent. Well, thank you. Thank you for being here and giving us the opportunity to talk a little bit about the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses Program here in Iowa. This is a program that not a lot of people are familiar with, so we're always looking for the opportunity to just share a little bit about the program and make sure that you have the opportunity to learn more and hopefully apply if interested now or somewhere down the road. I am going to take one moment and share my screen, get set up. So I will give you a little overview about the program today, and then we do have some time for questions at the end. And then I believe we have a couple of alumni that were going to join us and answer some of their questions about their experience as well. So I don't know, can you see the slides okay? Is it sharing? Okay.
Yes, we can. Yep.
Excellent, thank you. So just to start a little bit of an overview of the program. The Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses Program is a program that actually has been around almost 15 years. It is the idea creation and is funded by Goldman Sachs Foundation. And it is a very large partner program. So most people are not aware, but this is actually a national program. So all of the sites on the screen are sites where we have a location of the program. And then anywhere in blue would be a participant in the national program. So there are about 19 sites across the US, and there's one national program that serves all of the regions where a site is not active. A little bit about Iowa's program. So we had our first cohort in 2019. We were the first, and we're still one of the only statewide programs. So our program is different. Most of the time, they work with one community college to administer the program to kind of a small geographic region in a large metro area. Here in Iowa, we offer the program across the state. So it's open to all small business owners in Iowa. And it's a collaboration between all 15 community colleges. I am actually an employee of Des Moines Area Community College, and we coordinate the majority of the grant and some of the work here, but we really utilize our community college partners across the state to help with the program. We are a hybrid model in that we do part in person and part online, which I can talk a little bit more about down the line. And then we offer 2 cohorts annually. A lot of the sites offer 3. We have 1 in the spring and 1 in the fall each year. I briefly talked a little bit about it being a partner program. So just to elaborate on that, Goldman Sachs Foundation is really the creator and the funder of the program. They nationally partner with Babson College. So Babson College is a college in Boston. Kind of year over year, they are known for their entrepreneurial curriculum and programming. I believe they're kind of #1 in the US for year after year. And they do all of the curriculum. So the Babson College creates all of the curriculum. They have done so since the beginning. They continue to update the curriculum based on, you know, just different customer or small business needs and the environment and climate. But every site uses the same curriculum. So it's a little bit almost of a franchise model, in that every small business owner that goes through the program would have the same experience. We also partner nationally with an organization called Initiative for Competitive Inner City. If you've heard about the program at all, they're often referred to as ICIC. And they are a nonprofit also out in Boston that really works a lot on supporting different regions. And so they really are trying to support small businesses in some of the underserved areas across the nation. And we work with them on some of our recruitment efforts, and then they do all of the recruitment for the national program. Locally, as I mentioned, the program is here out of Des Moines Area Community College, but we work very closely with all of the 15 community colleges in Iowa. We work with a lot of partners, Small Business Development Center, SBA, the Iowa Center, various chambers, economic developers. Really, it is quite difficult to share about the program as it is statewide. And so we rely a lot on our team members that are working with businesses and helping us kind of spread the word and make sure people are aware of this opportunity. To give you a little bit, there's kind of a 3-pronged approach to the program in just kind of 3 main areas. So the first is the curriculum. So you receive like I said, a large curriculum. It's kind of the same curriculum across the board. Our second focus is really on business support services. So we try very hard to connect you with other resources locally and nationally. Iowa has a lot of really phenomenal resources for small businesses in the state, and we know we're just one of the many. And our program is only 12 weeks long, so it's important that you have support before and after the program. So we work very closely with other organizations, advisors, to provide those resources. And then our last kind of prong really is about access to capital. And so we spend a lot of time talking about how to understand your financials, your numbers, build those relationships with financial providers. But there is not an avenue to receive funding from the program. So just to be clear, there's not a grant that comes from the program. There's not financing opportunities, although we talk a lot about and train on how to access that capital. The sole goal of the program, as you can see at the bottom, is really revenue growth and job creation. So the program is around looking for ways to grow your business. To give you a little overview of kind of who participates, who is eligible. So these are the national numbers. I have another slide that really looks a little bit closer at some of the Iowa information, but nationally, 46% of the participants are women. There's quite a large range in ages, education levels, and different communities and industries. To take a closer look here in Iowa, about 60% of our scholars or our now alumni are women. So we historically have more women that go through our cohorts than men. Again, we have a very similar scholar age range. All types of business owners that participate. The business age ranges. So we have businesses that just meet that eligibility requirement of 2 years, all the way up to family-owned businesses or long-standing businesses of almost 150 years of age. Same thing as far as education levels. We have a lot of individuals who do not have formal education outside of high school or GED. And we have those who have an MBA, PhD, that have still participated in and gone through the program. The nice thing about this program is it is very applicable to your business. It's not a lot of theory. So even if you have some formal training and education, you may still find it very valuable. And then in terms of, how large are the businesses that go through? Again, it's a very wide variety. So we have some that just met that eligibility of about 75,000 in gross revenues in the year. And I think our largest was 44 million. So we see all across the board, kind of our median, like right in the middle there, are those businesses that are $500,000 to $1 million. And then kind of our median employees is about 5, and that may be part-time, temporary contracts. So there's a very, very wide variety of businesses, especially in terms of your industry. So the program is open to businesses from all industries and nonprofits. So we have everything from service providers, manufacturers, consultants. It continues to surprise us every time the variety of businesses that participate, and quite frankly, the variety of businesses that are here in Iowa. But this is a little bit on our Iowa participants. And then a little bit as far as the state impact. So this is a map of our alumni. I think we have a few more to add in there. We just graduated a cohort, but as you can see, we have a large chunk that do come from the Des Moines metro and surrounding areas. But we do have alumni from across the state, and we do continue to, that is one of our goals, to make sure that we are offering the program and we have participation from across the state. You'll see we have kind of this one lone alumni here out in Lincoln, Nebraska. She actually had her business when she went through the program. She was in Algona and then ended up moving her family and her business to Lincoln. Otherwise, she normally would not have been able to participate. So we do get some questions sometimes. What about people in Omaha or down in the Quad Cities? If your business is not in Iowa, or you are not, do not live in Iowa, you would actually participate in the national program. So you still have an opportunity, but just not in our Iowa cohort. I am monitoring the chat. If anyone has questions as we go along, please feel free. Otherwise, I know we'll take some time at the end as well. So to give you a little overview of what it even is, how it works. So as I mentioned, it is an educational program for small business owners that ideally are looking to grow their business. We have a team here in Iowa of about 15 faculty and staff that have all been trained in the same curriculum and the program model as the other sites. We have 3 team members here that are full-time at DMACC, and then a number of our business advisors and our faculty come from across the state. So our faculty members are faculty from the various community colleges and regional institutions here in Iowa, and they are all kind of specialists in their area. So they come in and teach in one module on their particular area of expertise. The program is offered at no cost to participants. So this is one of the great, I guess, offerings and opportunities that the Goldman Sachs Foundation provides to everyone, that once you are accepted into the program, you essentially receive a tuition grant to participate. And so, and that does include your hotels and meals while you are here in Des Moines. Your only cost is to get to and from Des Moines if you are not from here. And you would need to have some form of computer with working internet that you would be able to access the program in our virtual sessions. As I mentioned, Iowa is a hybrid program. So we have 2 sessions, one in the beginning, one in the end, and then we have online in the middle. So to talk a little bit more in depth about how that schedule works, at the beginning we start, so we have 3 days in person here in Des Moines. It's like a half day, full day, half day. They're very full days, very busy days, but individuals would come and work together as a cohort. And then at the end, you finish with 4 days in person. So we have 4 full days, you finish, and I'll get a little bit more in detail in terms of the schedule and kind of the breakdown of the curriculum. But those are our kind of front end, back end pieces. In the middle, we have our virtual sessions. So on Mondays and Fridays, we meet as a group via Zoom. It is not like this webinar. So it's very interactive, I will tell you. We'd see everybody's faces, everybody's kind of talking and participating as they go through. But those are those Monday and Friday times. They're about 2 hours each where we meet together. And then during the week, you have some independent work that you would work on by yourself. So we utilize the platform Canvas to access all of your materials. So you complete a great deal of not a great deal, but you complete some information each week in the module. You meet with your business advisor and you meet with your group during the week. So that's kind of the outline of our structure and our schedule. The focus of the program is there's a very, very strong and great curriculum, but there's also a ton of learning that comes from the peer-to-peer learning and the collaboration. So even though we have such a wide variety of industries and business sizes, what we find is that our scholars really learn almost the most from each other and kind of how other small businesses are working, what works for them, what they can learn from what others have been through. We focus a lot on that peer-to-peer learning and sharing of experiences. Additionally, as I mentioned in the last slide, we have a large focus on business support services. So where do you go to get those resources to learn these things when the program is over? Or if it's something the program doesn't directly address or you need more in-depth, where do you go? Who do you connect with? And that's a high priority area for us. And then in terms of the cohort sizes, we can take up to 40 in our cohorts. We typically have cohorts of 25. Or give or take a few, which does work very well because, as we mentioned, in our hybrid program, we do a great portion of the material online. So it's nice to have a smaller group in that online setting to make sure everyone's voice is heard and their questions are answered. And then really what you're doing, and we'll talk more about this, is developing a plan that you can use immediately. You can implement immediately to grow your business. A little bit of the overview. So here's kind of the breakdown of the curriculum and the modules. As I mentioned, we start in person. So in those first 3 days, we have our orientation and then what we call module 1, you and your business. That's kind of an introduction to the program, how the technology works, the program works, who the other cohort members are. And then you start talking a little bit about your business. We look at risk management, crisis management, resource management. So a breakdown of if you want to grow, what are those things you need to be aware of. Module 2 is growth and opportunities. And so here you're starting to kind of get a little bit creative and thinking about how you can grow. We really try to push people to explore growth that is not just more of the same. So what are some things that you can do to grow your business, maybe in a different avenue or a different product line or a different region? You do not have to go down that path, but the goal of the program is for you to explore that and to learn how to really evaluate opportunities as they would arise. So we do some feasibility studies. You work with your group, you work with the cohort on kind of exploring those opportunities and really stretching your thinking on how your business could grow in the future. Then we have 2 financial modules. So our financial statement workshop is really learning about those kind of the 3 main cash flow, or I guess financial statements that each business should use. So we look at the balance statement, the profit and loss statement, and then the cash flow statement. So you learn how to put those together and how to read those. And then what we do is we take that information into the next module, money and metrics. and you look at kind of benchmarking ratios, how to evaluate your numbers year over year, and then across your industry, really to see how you're doing, and really to learn what decisions you would make and how that would impact your numbers going forward. You are the leader. Focus is kind of our leadership module. So we look at personality styles, leadership styles, how to work with your team. And then we focus also on your mission, vision, and values of your organization. It's the people is kind of our HR module. So we are looking at hiring practices, some of your interviewing, culture is very, very important. We spend a lot of time talking about the culture of your business, and then some of those HR policies and procedures. Marketing and selling is our next module. We look at like the sales funnel, customer segmentation, so various pieces of really who are your customer and how are you going to reach them. Operations and process is our module 7. And it looks at kind of your process improvement. Are your process structured and organized in terms of even allowing you to scale? What needs to be cleaned up? What needs to be documented? What are the different technologies that might be beneficial for you to use? And then finally, we have our last virtual module is called Being Bankable, and that is our last financial module. We talk about valuation of your business, should you ever want to sell it. We look at forecasting. So there's a number of financial items that we're looking at there. Throughout this time, we do take 2 week breaks. So there's time in there where you have no meetings, you have no new work, and it's kind of catch up, apply, make sure that you are on track. And then you'll see these other pieces right here. These are clinics that we actually have moved to the last module. So our last module is called Action for Growth. And this really encompasses those 4 days in person when we are here in Des Moines. So we talk about advocacy, negotiations, we do a lending clinic, we talk about the different types of funding, pros and cons to each, who to contact, how to contact. We do a digital marketing clinic where we get a little bit more in depth on digital marketing. We pulled that out separately from our marketing and sales module. And then, excuse me, and then we celebrate. You finish during that time, you present to the group, and we celebrate your success and your graduation during those final 4 days. So that's kind of an overview of what the program looks like. And the entire time you're going through, I think the key here is that you're truly working on your business, and everything that you are applying is towards your business. We don't do a lot of case studies, so you're there just working, with your information the entire time going through. The outcome is that you walk away with a plan for growth. So as you are learning, you are also building in Live Plan what we would call a growth plan. So very similar to a business plan, but really on how you're going to grow your business. So the nice piece is it is strategic and thought out, but it's also very tactical. So you kind of know your next steps. I say a lot of times people actually come out of the program with a very large to-do list. So what do I need to do to go implement this plan? Not everyone implements their plan immediately. Some, it is a plan for 5 years down the road. Some, maybe a little bit sooner. Some people are implementing their plan as they're going through the program. Some never do it. And that's okay, because the point of the program is for you to learn how to evaluate opportunities should they come up, and to figure out what steps you need to do in order to implement that plan and to grow. So most of the time, a business does implement that growth plan at some point. They may find as they go through the numbers and look at the feasibility that the plan they thought they were going to implement maybe doesn't make the most sense for their business. But when you walk out, you'll kind of know what you will know what your next step is, whether it's tomorrow or a couple years down the road. So just a little bit in terms of what you can expect. If you're interested and this is something that you want to participate in, Our commitment to you, as I mentioned, you have a full scholarship. So there is no cost to participate in the program. You receive a very practical curriculum that you can implement right away. It is meant to grow your business, and these are skills that we said can be applied immediately. You have a local and a national alumni network that we connect you to. So we have an alumni manager who coordinates activities, kind of networking and continued education, both here with our Iowa alumni and then nationally. So here in Iowa, we have 255 alumni that have participated and graduated in the program. And then nationally, there are like 13,600, just over. So there are a lot of various individuals across the country that you can work with, you can learn from, you can partner with. And then we give you an understanding of how to access your capital. So as I mentioned at the beginning, we do not provide a mechanism for financing. You know, there's not a grant, there's not the ability to take a loan from Goldman Sachs or through the program. But we do a lot of work around understanding your numbers, what type of financing would be the best for you, how to go about accessing that capital. And then what's kind of expected of you. So we do ask that people plan to attend all sessions. So we have those schedules out in advance, particularly those in-person days. Those are the most important. The nice thing with kind of the Zoom model is that we do record the sessions and they are posted so that you can view them should you be unable to attend. But we want people to plan to attend all of the sessions, to take part and to kind of complete the out of class activities. So all of the work that's in Canvas, you know, the expectation is that you go through and complete that work. Truly that you have an interest and a commitment into growing your business, whether it be through revenue or job creation, that you complete a growth plan and that you complete our what we refer to as M&E, or our monitoring and evaluation documentation. And so essentially 5 times each business owner submits reports or kind of completes a questionnaire on their business. So they do it at the very beginning of the program, at the very end of the program, and then 3 times as alumni. And what that does is help us to determine whether the program is working, if the business is growing, what areas do we need to maybe reevaluate or modify some of the curriculum. And so just to give you a little bit of an impact and kind of what that data tells us, these are the outcomes that come from the programs. So we have, as you can see, businesses that go through the program do tend to increase their revenues and create more jobs than those that do not go through the program. So we've done kind of our own little unofficial study here in Iowa. And although these are national numbers, our Iowa numbers are very similar. So the businesses that go through do end up adding that second location or taking on, you know, that acquisition. And so the nice thing is we are seeing the impact here in Iowa, and we know that the program and the curriculum does work. And then one of the most fun things I think to watch is that, as you can see, almost 88% of the graduates end up doing small business together. So it's a very positive environment, very collaborative environment. And as we know and learn, small business supports small business. And so our scholars end up and alumni together as a group, which is very fun to watch. To give you a little bit in terms of the selection criteria. So we do have, in order to be eligible for the program, we ask that you be the owner, excuse me, or the co-owner of the business, or have some sort of ownership, or you can be the executive director of a business, that you've been in operation for at least 2 years, have annual revenues of above $75,000, and have at least 2 employees. The employees, you yourself as the owner, are considered one employee, and then it can be full-time equivalents. Perhaps you have part-time or contract employees. And these areas are a little bit gray, but these are really our eligibility. The reason for this is that the curriculum is all designed for a business that has a little bit of a foundation and is looking to grow and elaborate on that foundation. So there are a number of resources throughout the state that are really phenomenal for startups and entrepreneurs. And this program is a little bit different in that it's designed for somebody who already has their business kind of up and going. If you are interested in the program but not yet eligible, we'd still love to talk with you and figure out, who can we connect you with? I know the Iowa Center does an incredible job, and we've been talking about partnering too on, how do we help businesses grow to reach the point of eligibility to participate in the program. You get to do the program one time, and we want to make sure that everyone does it at the time that is appropriate for them. So those are the eligibility. And then obviously that last one, that you actually, you have a desire to grow your business and to create jobs. And not everyone does, and that is completely okay. But then this program isn't quite the right fit for you. I have a little bit of just kind of some testimonial here from some alumni, but we do have an alumni that has joined us. And so we want to take some time at the end and let her talk about her experience. So I will come back to this, but as you can see, even from the three here, we have, a very big variety of industries and locations that participate in the program, and really have just truly a wonderful experience and have learned a lot that they can apply right away to their organization. Our deadline to apply, if you are interested, is June 6th. And this is the application. And I'll send this out, and I know TJ was going to send out some information. I can follow up with the slides so that you have that. The first step in the application process takes about 10 minutes, and it's really just an eligibility form. So it's to kind of gather some basic information about your business to determine if you are eligible or not. If you are eligible, our team works with you then on the part 2 application and interview. So part 2 is a little bit longer. There's a little longer application asking some questions just about your business and you as the business owner and kind of where you want to take the organization, what you're interested in. And then you do also provide some documentation for your business. And so there's a number of forms, financial documents and business documentation that we ask you to provide. That is really to just verify the business and verify that you are, an actual eligible business. And that information is all kept confidential within the system, and then is only viewed by your lead panelist who would interview you, and by, if you're into the program, your business advisor, as they would be working really in depth with you on your business. So would have access to that. And so you submit this information, and then we do a 20-minute Zoom interview as well. And that interview is really just an opportunity to get to know you as a business owner. You can ask questions about the program. And so if there's anything that the panel would have questions about your business from your application, they would do that at that time as well, but they are pretty laid back. Essentially, the program is, as I mentioned, it's no cost, but it is high value. The Goldman Sachs Foundation really does provide a lot of investment towards every scholar that participates. And so while the application process can be a little extensive, our team works with you with any questions that you have or any concerns that you have through that process as well. But as I mentioned, the part 1 takes about 10, maybe 15 minutes, and the deadline is June 5th. So we will follow up with that information. This is my contact information as well. Should you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. But I did want to turn it over and include our alumni who has joined us. And TJ, I'm not sure if we need to kind of switch to be able to see the attendees. So Talis has joined us as an alum, and I'd like for her just to talk a little bit about her experience. And really, if you have questions, I'm happy to answer them, but it's great to hear from an alumni and their experience as well.
I don't think I see the other alumni in chat.
In the attendees list?
Yeah.
Oh, I would hit allow. Here we go.
All right, I'm here. Oh, looks
How
like,
are you?
oh, good. How are you?
Good. I think I did it. I don't know if you're able to show your video, it might not allow that. But if not, if you could tell us just a little bit about you and your business and kind of your experience in the program, that would be great.
It doesn't allow me to show my video, unfortunately. Otherwise I would. But yeah, I'm happy to chat about.
Hold on. Wait, you want to share a video?
Oh, no video.
Share my video?
Oh.
Yeah, it doesn't give me that option. It just has the mute.
All right. I'm sorry.
Nope, that's okay. I think we had 2 ways to join the webinar, and one allowed the sharing and one did not. So that's.
Oh, did
no
I
worries.
come in on the wrong link?
No, you're fine. We can, if you want to, we can start, and then if it turns out that we can turn it on later, that's no problem.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. So yeah, I'm Talis Strube. I own Des Moines Ballroom. I typically come in with that logo. It looks like I have another logo coming up on the screen, but it's Des Moines Ballroom is a ballroom dance studio here in Des Moines, and I was in the, I don't know what cohort number it was, Jackie, but it was the fall of 2020 when I went through the program. So that was an interesting year, I think, for you guys and us, because you had been all in person prior to that. And then obviously with the nature of what we were going through with the pandemic, we were all virtual. So the program, when I went through it, was the first time it was all virtual, but I didn't know any different. So I think for me, it was fine because we had the flexibility of meeting from where we were. And I was coming out of a situation where our studio had been closed and we were reopened, and I was not only trying to recover from that as a business owner, but also going through a program like this in hopes to rebound and grow. So that was really, I think, a key turning point for me in the business, is just being able to not just survive, but thrive, if you will. I came out of that and then had all of these resources and the tools that Jackie was just talking about, tons of expertise from all different directions. And I think I already had a basic understanding of, how to read my financials, but it's never a bad idea to dig into that stuff. You can always get better. I think you can always get more acquainted with a P&L. And that is a good thing. I learned in the 10K program that it is important to know your numbers and to know which numbers to know. This was crucial for me after I got out of the program, because it was maybe 4 months later after I graduated in December of 2020 that I was applying for a mega loan to purchase a piece of real estate for the business. So coming out of that program, on the heels of that, I was able to talk to the banker, an investor, about, these are my numbers. I felt a lot more confident, and that was super helpful. Is there anything specific questions that you want me to answer, Jackie, or you just want me to talk about the high notes of what I took away?
Yeah, I will. And as I mentioned, we will watch the chat in case people have questions. Talis did bring up that very crazy time in which we were all virtual. So the program has actually gone through a few variations of what our structure looks like. And yes, we've landed in our hybrid model where we are in person at the beginning and the end. But for a short time, yeah, we were virtual altogether. I think one of the things, Talis, and I might have some others, but if you could talk about just kind of what it's like to go through as a cohort, and maybe how that impacts the experience.
Yeah, certainly. So I am a solopreneur, which means I have other people in my business that work for me, but I don't have anybody as at a peer level, right? When we're entrepreneurs and we're out on our own, that's often the case. And I had existed and operated like that for a long time. And then coming into the cohort setup, it was like all of a sudden I did have those business peers. All of a sudden I had people around me that understood the problems that I was going through. Nobody else, no, that's not true. There was another dance studio owner. She wasn't a ballroom dance studio owner, but Kim had the ballet studio. But other than that, I mean, it's not like there were like businesses. However, as small business owners, we all understood the same struggles, and that was really helpful. I could throw out maybe an issue I was having or a problem I was thinking through and get 5 different perspectives from people who understood the problem, but had a really unique way of looking at it differently. So that was definitely an advantage for me of having the cohort set up. And then you guys broke us into smaller groups of 4 to 5. My group there were 4 of us. And so that became like a little bit of like a think tank. You know, we would get together weekly and talk about, again, some of those issues we were having, and immediately I would get feedback. I could say, hey, I'm thinking about doing this new marketing thing, and they'd give me honest feedback right away. That's really invaluable, because it's not, you can invest in a mastermind, right? If you have the financials to do that set aside, and that's not a bad thing. But at the time, that's just not what my business had. And it's almost like I got a free mastermind experience going through with other small business owners and going toward a goal. And then being able to champion them as well and create relationships. And I ended up cross promoting with one of the other women in my group. The program had been done for, I think, 6 months, and we got together and we're like, hey, should we try to do something together? So it's helpful for my business network. I mean, those are the top benefits that come to mind for being in the cohort setting.
Excellent. Just out of curiosity, do you still talk to anyone from your cohort or your growth group?
Abby, yeah, the gal that I was just talking about. Yeah, she's local. Like, we're both in Des Moines, so it's a little easier. And I'm not a big social media person. So, but yeah, it's honestly, you guys, if you can make one deep contact as a personal contact or a business contact, I think it's worth it.
Yeah, it is interesting, because we do hear of, and it varies on the group and people's preferences and location, but a lot of individuals from various cohorts do still get together, or they hold each other accountable. So I think the alumni that go through the program typically come back and say, okay, the program is valuable and the curriculum is valuable, but like half of the value comes from the program and half of the value comes from the other people and what you learn from them. And so I think we always really try to highlight that, because it's, we hear a lot, it's like standing alone on an island, and then all of a sudden you're a little bit off the island when you go through the. So, and then do you remember, I talked a little bit in the presentation just about the idea of coming up with a growth plan, and what that looks like, and some people implement, some people don't. Do you happen to remember what your growth plan was and whether or not you implemented it?
I do, and I did, although I think I made a slight tweak or so, but yeah, I wanted to, let's see, at the time, I was crazy probably by most people's standards, because we had just come out of the pandemic, and I'm running a service-based business that's more of a luxury than a need. But I really wanted to open, at the time, I thought, a second location, because I knew I was going to be coming up on the end of my lease for this space I had, and we were at capacity. So my growth plan included bringing other dance instructors to collaborate on then being able to support a larger space. And I presented that. And what was cool is you guys encouraged us to do kind of the practical version of that plan. But then we did this thing called the Blue Sky Vision exercise. And I actually ended up pursuing the blue sky version of my growth plan. So like I shared, a few months after getting out of the program, we decided instead of leasing an additional space, we were going to look for a building to purchase. We found one in the heart of Des Moines, and like a crazy person, I put this plan together, but it was great because I had just really worked out what the hypothetical financials might look like for something like that, and then just tweak the numbers to make it a reality, and went to the bank, and here we are. I really wish you could see my video because I'm in the studio. Our brand, like, it was brand new 2021. It's beautiful space that we were able to gut and make into now what has 3 ballrooms in it versus the 1 space I had before. So yes, I do think, Jackie, that that growth plan for me was what I needed to put the idea as a dreamer to paper. And it was just so much easier. I think I still could have gotten here, but I probably expedited getting this goal done faster by going through the program.
Excellent. Yeah, I think it, and that honestly, I mean, it's so fun to hear the stories and to see the growth of the businesses in Iowa. And we are always looking for alumni events, both educational and fun. So maybe we have some sort of a dance lesson.
I love that. Yeah. Do some salsa or something. I would love that.
That would be a great time. And my last question that I was going to just kind of pick your brain on is, so we get a lot of people, you know, that hear about the program, and we talk about the time commitment, and we try not to shy away from the fact that it is a time commitment. So we talked earlier in the presentation about the schedule and the overview and what that looks like in the hybrid, but despite, you know, whatever kind of model and variation people have gone through, we typically say like 10 to 12 hours a week is kind of what it takes to participate in the program, or what you should maybe set aside. And it's a lot of time, and I think it is kind of a deterrent for people, rightfully so. And if you could talk a little bit about kind of how you manage the time, your struggles with it, whether it was worth it, you know, just a little bit about that piece of it, because I know that's often a concern for people that are considering the program.
Yeah, certainly. It definitely is a commitment. Let's see, we were all kind of working from home at that point and trying to figure out what that looked like. So it was almost a special kind of scenario in that time. But if you just put your business hat on and decide that you're going to segment these hours just like you would to do other tasks for your business, and compartmentalize it, go to work and then put it away, I think that that's probably the best way to handle it. I know that's not the case for me. Looking back, I was like, I think I had my baby in the carrier on my back for a couple meetings, and I was doing it at home and part-time stay-at-home mom at the time. There's merit in that. You can get it done, but hindsight's 2020. I would definitely do it differently now. I would have, like, you know, found a space, and you can work more efficiently if you just decide right now that you're committing to this program. These are the hours you're going to set for it, and then get your work done. And I mean, like I just said, it for my business, it was the difference of multiple thousands of dollars in growth because I did do that work. Some of it feels a little bit tedious. Some of it might be stuff that you already know and you're thinking, why do I need to go through this? But it's like anything else. If you put the work in, you're going to get the results out that you put in. So yeah, I think it's worth the time, and it's not so much time that it overhauls your schedule. I think if you're making an investment to grow your business, you'll find the hours to set aside and work it in.
Excellent. Thank you. And I think it's a good point. I mean, there are some modules, and we looked at kind of the curriculum ladder, that you may be very, very comfortable with financials. And so you don't need to dive in and spend as much time, but maybe marketing is not your area. And so you want to dedicate a little bit more time. So your time commitment between the weeks could be a little bit different, kind of based on your knowledge and where you want to focus. But it is, we say a lot too, it's value in, value out. So if you you kind of get in or get out of the program what you put in. So we encourage everyone to go through and dedicate the time. I know it's not always possible every week. We saw babies on carriers and people coming out of the ER room and because they had a couple jobs. And so we've seen everything, and the team will, work with you in that regard. So anything else, Talis, that you might want to add, or any takeaways or anything before we turn it back over?
No, I just wanted to offer to anybody who's considering the program, I'm available. If you feel more comfortable and want to reach out to me directly to ask questions, you can email me, DesMoinesBallroom@gmail.com. Come straight to me. So feel free to reach out. I'd love to be a resource and just answer any of those lingering questions you might have.
Excellent, thank you. The other thing, I'll kind of piggyback on that too. If you are in a certain industry and you want to talk to an alum from a similar industry, we could happily connect you with someone as well. But I do want to open it up in case there are any other questions for either Talis or myself.
Doesn't look like there's any questions.
No, it's a quiet group, but that's okay. It means we answered everything.
Well, yeah, I mean, your presentation was really informational. So, like Jackie was saying, the sign up date or the due date for those signups for the first round are June 6th. And of course, I appreciate you for being here and giving us this presentation. I wanted to share some more information about some of our upcoming programs. On the 31st, we have Always Ready Lending, which explains the process of applying for a small business loans, all the documents that are required and expectations. On Friday, in person and online, we have the story of Highland Park, highlighting Slow Down Coffee. And then on June 2nd, we have a SBE, which is making the most of vendor markets. If you would like more information, feel free to check out our website at theiowacenter.org. Also make sure to sign up for our newsletter. And if that is it, I will end our webinar with the one piece of information that I always give: do what you love and love what you do. Thank you, everybody. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you for having us.